Hey, everybody, welcome back to HitPoint.
Hello.
I hit the button a little too late, and I was like, oh, shoot, I need to hit the button. And what? Gotta wait for the translation. Anyways, hey, welcome back to HitPoint, a RPG news podcast, a niche news podcast, anime news, figure news, basically anything that kind of sparks the interest of either Baku-san, JRPG, or I. We record live normally every Sunday evening, starting at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes. Okay, I'm correct. I'm starting to get the hang of this. I forgot to look at my notes. There. I know, getting there. You know, never told me I've ever done something wrong 14 times in a row.
You hit the start button this time, right? Are we live? We're live. Okay.
Let me double check. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing people say hello, so we must be live. Welcome to HitPoint, the most professional podcast on all of YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you're probably watching on one of our several other platforms of podcasting pleasure out there. But for anybody who's listening, if you're not aware, we do broadcast live on YouTube. And then for everybody here on YouTube, you can find our audio podcast versions elsewhere, anywhere that your podcasts are served. Baku, how are you doing today, dude?
Doing great, man. I had a great weekend, had an extra day of rest because we didn't have the show yesterday. It was great.
Yeah. I ended up canceling with Baku last night. Kind of last minute. I feel a little bit bad about that. But Amy and I were out celebrating our 14-year anniversary together. Yes, we're very old.
Congratulations again, by the way.
Thank you.
I had a slight. I was slightly complaining on my stream yesterday. not real complaint, but I was like, hey, listen, this is like what? How many years of their anniversary? He's got to at least let me know this like in a week in advance. How dare?
Well, this is true. But the last minute switch was that. So here's the thing, is I was initially planning on we were going to go to a movie when we did, and we got some pizza and we did.
Nice.
And then I was going to come home and podcast. But while we were out like at the movie and having pizza, I was like, you know, that would be a really crappy way to round out today's like festivities.
Yeah, what were you thinking? I would have yelled at you. I would have been like, "What are you doing, dude? Like, no."
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, we're we just
I would be like
reschedule.
I would be like, "Hey, Derek,
what
can you imagine we did the show yesterday and I'd be like, "Hey, Derek, how was your weekend?" Well, great. I just celebrated my wife's anniversary today. I'm like, "Then what are you doing here?" Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, hey, with age does come wisdom, and after 14 years of being married to my wife Amy, I realized, it dawned on me, that's a bad idea. So yeah, anyways, sorry for the delay. I hope you all understand, and but we are ready to hit the ground running today because, man, I'm having a pretty great Monday so far. How about yourself?
Oh boy, other than just work kicking my butt today, everything's great, so can't complain.
Awesome.
Surviving. Yep.
Hey, so what? I mean, there's been a whole lot of stuff going on out there in the world. A bit of wackiness out there. What would you say is today's top headline?
Ooh, boy. Somebody from Team Sonic apparently sued Square Enix. That was crazy. We'll talk about that.
Ooh.
And also, yes, Square Enix just sold a bunch of assets for like $300 million. And we'll talk about that too. And what they plan on using that money on. That's coming up.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, we have some viewer feedback to go over. So let's go ahead and start off with some comments from last week.
Yes.
Do you want to take off this first one here?
Yes, let's do it. So we've got one from Aqua that was the top comments, or one of the top comments rather. Given the timing of both announcements, Xenoblade 3 release date change seemed to relate to Splatoon 3's delay. Splatoon 3 was supposed to be released in the summer, but it's now delayed until September. It seems like Nintendo just swapped them to even out their release schedule. That was in reference to Xenoblade 3 moving up 2 months from September to July, and I kind of thought like they're the two didn't relate. It's like, well, that's like two different fan base, but I think most of you disagree and agree with that. This is definitely intentional swap. So I think I probably stand corrected that that's the case.
Well, it was kind of funny because that you had mentioned that, because as I was editing and putting in the timestamps for yesterday or last week's episode rather, was because I do rewatch all of the chats. So if you say hello, I'll probably see it later. But as I go through and I put in the timestamps, I'm like, as soon as I mentioned that and everybody says this, it was just like, hey, Splatoon 3, Derek, at SuperDerek, Splatoon 3, SuperDerek, Splatoon 3. I was like, okay, yeah, I should have been paying attention to the chat. And I'll try to do a little bit better idea of keeping an eye on chat, but sometimes it's hard to shovel that with, like, I'm talking to Baku, trying to keep up with the document, trying to keep up with what's happening in chat, trying to juggle stuff over here. Chances are, unfortunate, I'll probably miss something big in chat again. But
it's hard, yeah.
But it was pretty funny because, like, but I'm like, I would go into speculation territory, and I had way more fun with that than thinking about Splatoon 3. Let me just say that. I still hope, man, that Nintendo will remember that it's Zelda's 35th anniversary and finally port the last 2 of 3 Nintendo Nintendo Wii U exclusives that they haven't brought over to the Switch yet. Yeah. I mean, Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Why have they not been ported yet? They've done everything else. I mean, it'd be easy. It'd be easy to do.
Easy money. Oh, you know what? Okay, so there are always articles that I end up not including, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just the editorial decision. And one of the ones that I had wanted to talk about was Nintendo finally running into issue with hardware, and they're depending more on evergreen sale. So, and that's part of their like financial report, which is really dry, and I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it. But since you brought this up, like, this is the kind of evergreen content that they will then have to depend on, right? So, maybe that's actually a strong possibility they'll do it, because again, they're running into this hardware issue. They're expecting 10% less sell on hardware, so they got to depend on these evergreen games they sell on, their electronic storefront. But
well, I hope they come around.
Mother's 3, just staying, Nintendo.
Oh, they're gonna sit on that for I think they'll carry that one to the grave. Prove me wrong, Nintendo.
Prove us wrong, Nintendo.
All right, I got another one here from 10,000 Noodles. Says Sega and ATLUS were made for each other. I've never seen two companies so skilled at getting people so excited for something, and then within 48 hours managing to destroy any hype they'd previously managed to generate.
Oh boy.
That's scathing and true.
Frankly, very true. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they both make really good products too. Usually.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes, usually.
Sometimes.
As long as it's not Sonic.
I was gonna say, as long as it's not Sonic, they will find a way to drop the ball with Sonic every time.
I know, and I feel bad for Sonic fans. It's just like, it's such a great IP, and
I mean, if you're still a Sonic fan, you're doing it to yourself at this point.
I didn't say it. Do not send me hate messages. I did not. This was not coming from me. This is not me.
No, I'm just poking fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A little friendly ribbing, but. Yes. Yeah, it's true though. They are pretty well matched on that PR front. You remember Persona's 20th anniversary? Was it 20th or 25th anniversary this year that they've been celebrating?
25th.
Yeah, they've been celebrating like a new announcement every month. They got me all excited when they announced, oh, we're going to have, 12 months of announcements. And I was like, okay, this is what I want out of a 25th celebration. You're hyping it up. And then it's like gone by. And the only thing that so far that I've cared about has been the vinyl collection that I wasn't able to afford.
How much was it?
Like,
How much were we talking?
like gosh, I want to say it was like I can't even remember anymore, but I think it was like
Vinyl?
$250.
Mm.
And it was a pre-order that was going to be coming out like in like a year and a half or something. It was like,
yeah, that's typical.
Pay now, get the thing way later.
That's definitely typical now.
I hate it.
Joke's on them though, because inflation is going to cost them more in the future. So it may not be a bad deal.
Yeah, that might be true. Well, actually, that's the opposite though, because you have to pay now with today's money. If you pay later with inflated money, it's not as,
No, inflation means your dollar can purchase less things over time.
Yeah.
The price
so they
bundle
get the
goes
money
up.
now instead of later, so they have access to the money while it's still good.
Yeah, but then the value of that good would be substantially more than what you're paying today.
Anyways,
but then
nerdy talk aside,
then you have to factor in like the savings rate. Okay, economics majors. So I'm just saying, like this whole thing. Okay, let's not get into it.
Exactly. I like your shirt, by the way. Speaking of Persona 5.
Thank you. My friend made this shirt. She sells it. If anyone cares, one of the comments is like, "Hey, Baku, what's your shirt?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, my friend made this." Like, "Hey, can I get this?" Like, yeah, I got it like 5 years ago. I don't think she's selling. She's still another friend sells this now. So if anyone's interested, hit me up. Definitely not a plug, but since you brought it up, we got another comment, and I think I'm also interested in knowing about this. It's from Jermaine. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Asensio. It says, yes to international voicemail option. I'm from Spain, and I watch the podcast consistently. Would love to contribute. Love the podcast, guys. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you, Jermaine. I appreciate that very much so. And about that international voicemail option, Derek, where are we on that?
All right, so I have a inbox set up for it. So what you're going to want to do, and here's the thing, and it's one of the things that I've been doing to avoid getting spam on the voicemail line. And now, in order to avoid getting voice or email spam, I'm not going to put the text of it anywhere. So I'll just say it here. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do it by phone at 785-337-3805. Or you can email me a link to to a voice file at HitPoint@SuperDerekRPGs.com. So
that's right. Yes,
you can send us. Yep, you can. Don't send me the file via email, because sometimes there'll be like a 10 megabyte file and it just won't show up. So send me a link to a file at HitPoint@SuperDerekRPGs.com, and I'll see if we can play it on the air.
Yeah, like Dropbox, Google Drives, all kinds of ways to host those files, guys.
Exactly. And now, speaking of voicemails, I have a couple lined up, so let's go ahead and play one of them.
Hey, SuperDerek and Pakistan. It's Coolman Tim. Loving your podcast, guys. And I have a couple of questions for you, kind of similar. First question is, what is your JRPG guilty pleasure? On the flip side, what's a game that you just could never get into, could never enjoy? Most other people like it, and for some reason, you just never get into that game. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great week.
All right. Did you hear that okay, Baku?
Thank you, Tuminti. I was cutting in and out a bit, but I didn't quite get the question. I got like the first part, and then it was something about JRPG, and there was like two questions. So,
gotcha.
Do you want
so the first one? Yeah, I'll recap. So the first question is, what is your JRPG guilty pleasure? And then the second is, what is an RPG that that you just couldn't get into, even though other people have told you that it's like a really great game? It's like really well renowned.
Go for it, Derek. What you got?
All right.
What do you want me to go first? It's up to you.
JRPG guilty pleasure. I'm gonna say Chrono Cross, because I feel like it's probably the most controversial one, that like people either love it or they hate it, right?
Really? There's Chrono Cross.
I mean, I love it. I love it a lot. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And I haven't played it in a long time, so I'm gonna be playing it here pretty soon. I think that's the one though that And actually, I think we'll be playing it starting on Wednesday this week over on twitch.tv/SuperDerek But
Yes.
we'll be playing through that. And yeah, I realize that it's a game that has some flaws, but something about it, it sparks joy in me, and I can't help it. Now, as far as games that I wasn't able to get into despite hearing phenomenal things about them, there's two games in particular, and they're kind of similar in a way. And those two games are Final Fantasy 12 and Xenoblade Chronicles. Now, I haven't tried either of them in years and years and years. I haven't played 12 since before I started my YouTube channel almost 9 years ago. And Xenoblade Chronicles, I played it when it first came out. I went out and spent the $70 from a scalping GameStop back in the day. Yeah, that's right. When they were getting reprints and they were opening in order to sell them above MSRP.
Ooh.
You remember that?
Okay.
Yeah, they were doing that back in the day.
Yeah, that was bad times.
Yeah, rough times for me.
Rough times.
But anyways, I bought it. I bought it from a scalping GameStop, and then I tried to get into it, and I just couldn't. And I think that it's connected. It's that that sort of, I don't know what the style of combat is called, where you have stuff that occurs in real time, but you don't directly control the protagonist. Like, it's not an action RPG, because like, at least in my mind, I associate action RPG with you push a button and they swing the sword, or they do an attack, or they do something, right? But in this one, it's like you run up to the enemy and you wait, and then your character just kind of like, ha on their own, right? and you're like, you set the controller down and they just go, ha. And then you kind of lean back a little bit, and they go, ha. And then eventually somebody dies.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, I know that there's more to it with both of those. That's a gross oversimplification, but the fact that you could do that and hypothetically like kill some mobs that really don't like mean anything, like, you know, just the standard, like whatever you run into. I don't know. That's just kind of takes me out of it. So
yeah, I want to say that's like an MMO style battle where you have like skill rotations. You know, that was popularized with like things like WoW and, you know, obviously Final Fantasy online games and, you know, the likes. Of course, those are not the only ones, and there are certainly predecessors that had these sort of formula. But I feel like the closest thing that I've seen used widely would be like the MMO space had used that style of combat.
I think I remember associating that with like RuneScape back in the day, because that was the only RPG, the only MMORPG that I've ever played was RuneScape. And I hate every MMO as of right now because of that. God, that's I don't actually hate it, but I mean, I feel like that's put me off of a lot of MMO experiences, and I think that's probably for the best.
Yeah, it's a money sink, man. It's a money sink.
But
oof, yeah,
that whole thing where like you just kind of like click around, and then the enemy just sort of like attacks you, and then you attack them, and then they attack you, and then just, yeah. I don't know. Something about it just, it feels even further removed from like, I don't know. So action RPG, I feel like you are in control of some of the action. With turn-based, it's like, it's a little, what's the word? Abstracted, right? But then when you have like the auto battle that kicks in, I feel like even further abstracted, and it makes me feel like a not integral part of the gameplay anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's not a current, like, that's not a feeling that I have right now. Let me restate that one more time. I haven't played these games for like almost 10 years now. That's just how I felt back then, and I hope that I'll feel differently going into either of those games whenever I do play them again.
Whenever you do play them again. You know, July might be a good time to dive into Xenoblade 1. I don't know. Like, while everybody's playing Xenoblade 3, you alone will play Xenoblade 1 for anyone who doesn't want to watch Xenoblade 3. That might not be a bad idea. I'm just saying.
Probably not a terrible angle, I suppose. Summer of Xenogears.
Xenoblade.
Or Xenoblade, yeah. Because I already did Xenoblade.
I mean, Oh yeah, I'm like, boy, you want to go back to Xenogear and
I
then
already
go through
did Gears.
Xenosaga?
I need to go through Xenosaga. At some point, I will play through Xenosaga. I just don't want to start on that journey until I get Xenosaga 3 in my hands. Because I don't want to be like, all right, Xenosaga 1, Xenosaga 2 done. Now I just need to spend $5,000 on this copy of Xenosaga 3 or whatever it's going to be when I finally get there.
Yeah. Oh boy, I'm sorry. Those things are pricey.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyways, what are
We
your
had-
what are
yeah.
your games for this guilty pleasure and vice versa?
You know, it's funny that someone just asked me this yesterday.
Really?
Like someone else just asked me that yesterday. So I had an immediate answer, and my answer to that person was Neptunia. Neptunia is definitely hands down super guilty pleasure. The game battles are like basically crap and it's all fan servicey, but it's just a cute RPG that I can't help it. Or it's just a really cute RPG. I'm sorry. So that's where the guilty pleasure comes in.
Well
yeah.
well chosen. Good one.
Yeah. Although I can't stomach like more than one at a time because oh boy, even as a guilty pleasure, it's like candies, man. It's like sweets. Like you can only have a small amount. Like too much of it, you just get sick of it. And I think that's sort of game. Now for games that people swear by, and I just couldn't really get into.
Which one are you gonna dump on first? I wonder.
Which one am I gonna do? Well, first there's Alundra. Everyone's like, "Oh, I like Alundra." Right? Oh God! First 5 minutes, I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's gross. Yeah, but that's like a pretty extreme example. I think another one, honestly, and this is gonna get a lot of people. Maybe is the Trails in the Sky. Don't hurt me. Okay, good. I'm safe. The internet's not.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm gonna go.
Goodbye.
No.
No, I don't.
I'm surprised you
like
didn't pick Chrono Cross as your opposite of a guilty pleasure.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Chrono Cross is, like you said, it's very divisive. It's sort of like you either love it or you hate it, right? But
Yeah.
most people that I've talked to really like Trails, and in fact, I think that's part of the problem. Is like they really overhyped it for me. So when I played it, I'm like, it's good. It's good. I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I do not hate Sky. In fact, I'm planning to play Sky third soon. So I don't hate it, obviously, because I wouldn't go back to it if I did.
Yeah.
But I just didn't enjoy it like half as much as people keep saying, like, oh, this is the greatest. Oh, it's so good. The lore, the story. I was like, yeah, plot, seen it, done it. It's like y'all never seen anime before because like it's a lot of these are just like anime tropes, and I don't know, it's just like nothing mind-boggling about it. It's a very solid RPG, and anyone who wants to find a solid RPG, I highly recommend Sky. Just as a solid entry. The battle system is really fun and intricate, very involved, but yeah, just not mind blown about it. So
Yeah.
that's probably the one.
That's totally understandable too, because like I said in my review of Suikoden 2, like nothing will really just take the legs out from under a video game like being overhyped, and I feel like that's another reason that we should all strive to temper expectations when we make recommendations. Like if you when you're making a recommendation for someone to try out a video game, never be like, this is going to change your life, man. Because it's like, how does a game succeed after that?
Right. It's like following a show that's like, really great, right? It's just like, oh God, that's a tough show. That's a tough act to follow, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like you are the act. Like you've set up this expectation. Like how is anyone supposed to follow that, right?
Exactly. That's why every time we do this podcast together, I just bring my C game just to help you, stand out among the crowd and just,
Right. I mean, I just, yeah. I mean, you don't even need to do that.
I'm just joshing.
There's a tough act to follow no matter what game he brings.
So we have another voicemail. I should probably bring that game. All right.
Yes, let's go.
All right.
Hey, SuperDerek. Hey, Baku-san. This is Matthew Money again. With the ongoing climate of games having more and more advertisements in it, which I personally don't care about as long as it's not intrusive, in the future, from a conservationist standpoint, like having remasters and stuff like that for these games, will they or will they not be saved in the future due to licensing with these advertisements? I'd like to know your thoughts, and thank you guys so very much.
Could you hear that?
Hey,
Okay.
thank you. Oh, I heard that one crystal clear. I got that one.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's a really interesting question. And so as far as like from a video game conservation perspective, how will in-game advertisements affect the effort? That's a
So what are some examples for the listeners or viewers who may not be familiar? Like, what are some examples of like in-game advertisement that we're referring to?
So I can't think of anything modern because I live under a rock, but I do recall back on the Dreamcast, there was it Crazy Taxi that had a bunch of in-game advertisements and stuff.
It's like Coca-Cola billboards or something, right?
Or like
something
Ninja
like
Turtles.
that.
Ninja Turtles had a Pizza Hut tie-in in the Pizza Hut arcade, like the Pizza Hut in the Turtles arcade games, I think. Those were pretty easy to just switch out for other things, I think. Generally, like when the Pizza Hut thing had expired, I think they just changed the logo to like Pizza Time or whatever. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like that's what they've done in the past. But I don't know what that'll do in the future for these kinds of things, because I mean, I think like you, I would probably need some more specific examples of that happening right now. But like, gosh, wasn't it like one of the more recent sports titles that they had some like mid-game breaks or something where they actually had sponsors that would show up in their always connected online games and like.
Oh boy, if only I play sports board games. I mean,
I know
you're asking the wrong guy.
I know. That's why I'm just trying to say I think I remember this, because I thought I remember people being outraged about it on Reddit, but it's been maybe years now since I remember that, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Sorry, just real quick. 4 is Celceta and 6 is Nepishtem. There, I just squashed your disagreement there, chat. Sorry, I just glanced over. They're talking about East. It's like, what's East 4 and East 6? East 4 is Celceta, East 6 is Nepishtem. Arc of Nepishtem? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I know for a fact that is E6 because I just played it not too long ago. You're welcome. They're just still going at it. Anyway, so yeah, so to answer your question, I'm sorry, who was the gentleman's name again? I heard like something
that
money.
was Matthew Money, I think.
Okay, yes. So Mr. Money, thank you again for the voicemail. I really appreciate it. It's a very thought-provoking question. From a legal standpoint, I think it just depends on how the contract's written. Because not only are you doing advertisement, there are certain copyrights, trademarks involved, right? So it could be a once and done deal. It could be for the life of the publication of a game. So we go into territories that are completely beyond us. I mean, we might know our Japanese RPGs, but we're not lawyers, like as you can see.
Yeah. I will say it also probably largely depends on the degree of like integration, right? Because like Mick Kids on the NES probably not going to get a re-release anytime soon, because that was a big McDonald's integration, and the whole thing is like centered around McDonald's. Sneak King from Burger King probably not going to get a re-release, but those are preserved in other ways through just archiving, right? So luckily, at least in those cases, it's not something that we have to worry too much about. But I feel like the situations where the ads or the sponsored integrations into these games are streamed, I feel like that's probably most likely to be harder to be preserved, if you would even really want it to be preserved? That's the other
Yeah.
question. Like, I don't
Yeah.
feel like anything of value would be lost if not. But like talking about re-releases though, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a really recent example that I can think of, which is Final Fantasy 4. No, sorry, not 14. 15. Final Fantasy 15.
Oh yeah, they did
and,
the cup of noodle,
cup
like
noodle. Yeah, cup noodle. So in my opinion, right? There are two more things, and then I can move on. Like in my opinion, they ought to be reserved. No, sorry, not reserved, conserved. They ought to be conserved because it just gives you a sense of like history, right? Like 10, 20 years later, we can look back at like, oh yeah, that happened. Like I like the authenticity of the content. Whether you like the content or not, that was what was offered. And conservation is about preserving that for future generations to reflect on. So I don't believe in altering that. Now, the other thing that I do want to bring up is, so Sony is actually recently, here's another piece of editorial thing that I had to remove, but one of the things that Sony was talking about is wanting more in-game advertisements. So you're like kind of like hitting it right on the point. And because of that, and if other companies decide to do more of these integrations, you can bet that there is some kind of standardization of like legal aspect that probably will lead into how conservation looks. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. This is just the beginning of I think more advertisement integration, truly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I suspect that these are also probably problems or questions that most developers are shoving off until tomorrow to sort out. Like they're really not super concerned about re-releases for 20 years down the road. They're very much focused on what can I do to make a buck now.
Correct. Yeah.
And that kind of sucks. I wish that they did care, but I don't think they do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, with the again, with just because they're more like in-game ads, that they're looking to do and what have you to various degrees. They're probably going to look into it from a legal aspect just to protect their bottom line. But it's not going to be from like a developer standpoint. It's going to be from a legal standpoint. Yeah. Like corporate, like like teams of lawyers going to think about this, not like the programmers and game developers. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because boy, old titles make money. Like they know that now, right? So they're gonna think about that. It's
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Do you want to take a look at this next thing? Move on to some updates.
Oh boy, yeah, let's talk about some news. Thank you again for all the voicemail. By the way, if you guys got super chats, we'll be reading that towards the end of the podcast. So if you got some burning questions for Derek, myself, definitely send us some super chats and we'll absolutely read them towards the end. Even if you can't stick around, you can rewatch the videos and just skip over there.
I do always forget to mention that, so thanks again. And yeah, again, if you guys want to leave us a voicemail, you can do so via email now at hitpoint@superderekrpgs.com or leave us a voicemail at 785-337-3805. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Derek. Okay, yes. So let's talk about some updates to previously released game. Monster Hunter fans, prepare for the next digital event, which is slated for May 10th. 10 a.m. Eastern Time on either Twitch or the Monster Hunter YouTube channel. Links is down below. The event will reveal more monsters and hunter actions and other gameplay features. So that's very exciting for any Monster Hunter Rise fans who are just really looking for more content. You'll be able to see that on May 10th. So if you're really excited for it, you just can't wait. Definitely check out that review. Just a reminder for everyone, Sunbreak expansion will be available on the Switch and PC in June 30th. So not far from now, you'll be able to play yet more Monster Hunter. We've got a lot of Monster Hunter fan. I thought the game wouldn't be that popular. No, I was wrong. It's highly popular.
It's kind of crazy how popular it's gotten, and I feel like I've missed some of the boat there. I wish, you know what? That's actually that's probably even better of an example for me than Final Fantasy 12 of like a game genre. It's kind of like a subgenre even of JRPGs where I hear incredible things about it, but every time I've tried to get into it, just the gameplay loop just never stuck to me, and I that's too bad because they must be wonderful, and I'm sure that I'm missing out, but I just can't do it.
Me and you both. The prospect of needing to find someone to do these things, like it's so hard to like get someone to play these games consistently. So I just don't even bother. But I'm just glad that people are having fun, especially during COVID, you know, like during the pandemic where like, you know, we're all locked up, and this is just like another great way to connect with your friends and family. So like I think it's doing a great service for everyone, you know, in the sense. And most importantly, you can play this offline and solo mode if you so choose to, unlike a certain Babylon's Fall. I'm never gonna stop like punching down on this. Like never gonna stop. It's just a terrible decision. But yeah, solo play is available. You could certainly play this yourself. It's just more fun to play with your friends if you can find any to hang out with, and or family members play, you know, online co-op. So it's totally cool. Yeah, I mean it's you know, it's popular enough that it's sort of brought like Capcom into like a new golden age as far as like earnings concerned. So that's got to be like, that's reflective of how popular these games are. So good on you, Capcom. Good on you.
For sure.
All right. Do you want me to do the next one too, or you wanna...
Yeah, I'll take this one actually. So we got a new update here coming. Well, that came rather to Relayer on the 28th of well, just a couple days ago, I guess.
Yes.
So this latest update to the game adds several new features, including the ability to upgrade the mechs. So now you can fully upgrade, like, I guess fully upgrading 6 areas of the unit will transform the mech into its final form, which then changes the unit's appearance. And I guess long-time Super Robot Wars fans should feel right at home with these changes. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So long short is, you know, in the Super Robot War franchise, you could always upgrade these units and health and other areas. And this game released without that feature, which is a huge feature for like you know, a tactical RPG involving mechs, right? That's like kind of how you upgrade your units. Can you imagine Final Fantasy Tactics releasing without jobs or like job points? Like it's just, it's like that.
It's
like,
kind of nuts, right?
How do I customize this, right? Like you can change the equips, like but you can, you know, so it'd be like that, right? So now you can finally upgrade your units. So
like that's half the fun of like having mech games in general, is just like custom robo, for instance. Like that's the whole point of custom robo, is to customize your robo.
Right,
so, like,
right. It's like, what were you thinking? Why did you release this game without that feature?
It seems like that would be part of the MVP, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely part of the MVP. You know, and that kind of makes me think, right? So this is like a major feature that is being released like after the fact, right? And that's only possible now because of the way that the systems can receive like updates and what have you, and being able to sell DLC. But that's a different story. Like, you know, Derek, do you feel like that's a good trend? Because like games back then, they only get one shot, like get everything right, and they have to release it, and that's how it should be. You know, on the one hand, you can release updates based on feedback, and you can improve the game. On the other hand, it's giving developers like a leeway to release like an unfinished game just to like touch up on it and like fix whatever things later.
If you wanted feedback, you should go the Octopath Traveler route, the Triangle Strategy route, where you put out a free playable demo and collect feedback and then implement the feedback. But you don't sell somebody a product that's unfinished and then, you know, finish it later after people are like, hey, this is a little weird. I mean, it's nice that people can go back and make updates and changes, I guess. But at the same time, from like a video game conservation or preservation perspective, this is kind of bad, because it's not going to be included in physical copies. Like this is why I don't want to buy a PS4 copy of Ys 8, right? Because it shipped with the bad localization. And the only way to get the good localization is to buy it on Switch, which is way more expensive now, right?
But I sold my Ys 8 copy and I bought an Ys 9 copy. I mean, Ys 8. No, sorry. I meant I sold my PS4 copy and bought a PS5 copy.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you do it. But I mean, it sucks. It sucks that as a physical games person, and I know as far as like other companies go, they don't care. They're making a buck regardless. They're not here to cater to collectors. They're here to cater to our gamers and players. And I get that. I don't know, but I still don't like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there are some rare good examples, like No Man's Sky. I think was a crazy example. In fact, there's a video sort of essay commentary from like the internet historian that I highly recommend everyone to watch, and it offers like both sides of the perspective, how it failed and how they come back and like redeem themselves. But if we're only looking at initial release, like it is an absolute abysmal failure. A bunch of promises were not met. It's just garbage and everyone dumped on it, right? But then over time, they just silently release a bunch of patches and fixes and expansion. They're all free. That really made it like the game it is today, that while not fulfilling all the promises, at least is a very playable game and in fact very enjoyable one that people still play. So there's that. But boy, I think that's like a very rare like unicorn of a story.
I do feel like there's a caveat, I guess, to what I was saying, and that's the games that heavily feature a strong online component where it pretty much requires you to be online. I feel like that's the sort of situation where I'm okay with this sort of thing, because there's no presumption of being able to play this once the servers go offline in that sort of situation.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
So if there's like an online component, yeah, go ahead and introduce stuff like this. If you can't play a single player version of the game, but for single player games, I feel like you should be shipped a final product when it comes out. That's my thought.
Really try. Do not depend on this like update to fix things, right? Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so that's updates to games that has been released. Now we got some new game announcements. This one is kind of exciting to me. I don't know if it's going to be exciting for a lot of you all, but there's a game called R-Type Tactics. 1 and 2 remix, not remaster, remix. Has been announced. So, in the latest live stream, Granzella, who is the developer of R-Type, announced that the remix of these two turn-based RPG spin-off, tactical turn-based RPG, will be released as a single release. So both games remake into one single release. And for those who don't know what R-Type is actually a horizontal
shoot 'em up, right?
Shooter game. Yeah, it's a shooter game.
I was like, what the heck?
Yes, exactly. But have you ever played R-Type before, Derek?
Yeah, I suck at it. I'm terrible at it. I die every time. I've never gotten far at all. This is the first R-Type that I'll probably stand a chance at.
Good. So the R-Type game, for those who may not be familiar, again, it's a horizontal scroller shooter. But what's cool about R-Type is you get these different ships that you can get as you unlock them, right? And so and different ship will have different bullets and what have you, right? But that's like within the shooter. Now in the tactical game, you can sort of like upgrade. It's almost like their jobs. So you can build new ships and add them into your army, and then they can shoot like different ways and attack in different ways. So it actually kind of works.
This sounds really cool.
Really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. And the other thing is R-Type's not big. Like most of you guys may not even know what that is. And for them to come be like, you know what, we're gonna do a remake of both games into one release. You're welcome. It's like, wow, really now? So I'm super excited. Now,
how long until like the Space Invaders shoot 'em up first person shooter. That's practically in my mind. That's more plausible. I feel like today, because it's like you're taking this sort of underdog, sort of side scrolling shoot 'em up, and then you're throwing it into this really niche thing. Like,
like
that's so
you
random.
went from one niche to another niche.
I love it
What's
though.
going on?
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm trying to think of like what would be another comparison. Like what's another game from the same era that you could twist in such a way that would be equally weird and off the wall. I don't know, something about just how bizarre it is and random. I love it.
Like turning a one niche game into another niche game, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like, let's see, like so like let's throw Gradius in there, and instead of let's turn it into a battle royale or
oh jeez. Well, like, I mean, funny you mentioned about like Space Invader. I feel like there is a game that's close to it, not quite, but it's close to it, and that's called Earth Defense Force. Have you ever seen that before? Yeah, Earth Defense Force is, it's kind of like, it's not a first-person shooter, but it's a third-person shooter. Where you have to gun down these giant aliens that comes at you in swarms. So it's kind of like, it's not quite that, but it's close. You don't want to look into that. It's pretty fun.
You know what?
It's like they're into the 6th game too, so it's a running series.
This is actually kind of reminded me of one of my hidden gem favorites. It's not a guilty pleasure because there's nothing guilty about it. But there's this short series of games that was originally released on the old school Mac that I discovered through a neighbor friend of mine, and it's been ported to Windows. It's by a company called Ambrosia, and what they do is they have these games called Escape Velocity, and at some point I wanted to take a look at them. But what they are is essentially imagine like a game that controls kind of like Asteroids, but then you throw in and this is from like the 90s, by the way, but then it's like you have these massive different solar systems that you can warp to, and you're doing these trade routes, and you're embarking in these like various weird random quests that can pop up, and it's all really random and very niche, but it's kind of like an adventure RPG, but with like space pirates and stuff. Oh, it's so fun.
Wow, that sounds wild.
It is so, and it's all from like this top-down perspective. Like all you see is your little ship, and it's like asteroids. It's super cool though. It's called Escape Velocity. Check it out.
Wow. There's a lot of games that like I feel like is only possible in the 90s. Like you're not gonna see things made like this. Well,
No.
at least not from like a company. Like maybe like indies, but like definitely not from like a company release. Those are wild times, man.
It's like No Man's Sky meets Asteroids. It's so weird. It's so weird. I love it.
Yeah, boy. I just thought, now that you mentioned it, I just thought about it. Turning any niche game into like a rhythm game would be
yeah,
a weird thing. Yeah, it's
I
like
love it.
one niche into another. Yeah, I would play Persona.
Oh, dude. I mean, I guess they did kind of do that, huh?
They did, and I loved it. It was great. 3 Persona games got turned into a rhythm game. One of them got turned into a fighting game. Like, good job, ATLUS.
Man, that's weird. I love it.
Right.
So,
all right.
I'll take this next one here.
Yes.
So, D3 publisher have announced that Maglam Lord will be released on PC on the 30th of this month via Steam. This is an action RPG, sort of, where you play as a demon lord who was reawakened after years of deep sleep to learn that their kind is nearing extinction. The game's already available on PS4 and Steam. Personally speaking, so this is, just to give you a little bit more context, this is from the developers of Summon Night. So specifically Summon Night Swordcraft story. So it's kind of like this, it's as a very weird sort of action RPG sort of deal, but it's also very much into the visual novel sort of side of things. I feel like as an action RPG, it's not very good. As a visual novel, it's probably kind of okay. I actually have an experience points video where I give my impressions on it. it's made for a very specific audience, and if you are that audience, you probably know it, and if you're not, I probably wouldn't seek it out, personally speaking. But if you want to know more about it, check out my video, link in the description, or it will
Links
be
in the description.
Yeah.
I added it in there on purpose.
You're well, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So that was that. And then up next we got a game called River City Saga, which some of you guys haven't heard, but this is a spin-off. River City Saga 3 Kingdoms. So Arc System Works just released the date for the international release of the River City Saga 3 Kingdoms. This is a Romance of Three Kingdom. It's kind of like a Chinese epic spin-off for the River City Saga. And if any of you guys are like, oh, well, that sounds kind of familiar. Yeah, Dynasty Warrior. That's what you're thinking about. And yes, Dynasty Warrior is based off that sort of like historical context. So players can select up to 24 different characters to fight through 10 stages in either single player or up to 2-player online co-op or local 4 players co-op, which sounds really fun. Yeah, it's a beat 'em up game. If as the pandemic maybe winds down a little bit, maybe you're hanging out with some friends, maybe that could be an option. You want to look for a local co-op game where
2-player like online co-op is pretty cool though. I dig it. It reminds me a lot of so this is not just a side-scrolling beat 'em up. It is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but at least usually River City Ransom at least was also kind of had these turn-based or not turn-based, these RPG-based mechanics in it as well. So if you're a fan of Scott Pilgrim versus the World at all, this I'm hoping is going to be exactly kind of like a follow-up to that. Do you want to let's check out this trailer?
Take a look at the trailer. Yeah.
I am so hyped.
Me too. It looks so fun.
I just realized that was really loud. River City Saga 3 Kingdoms. So yeah, this is part of the Kunio-kun, I believe is what it's called, series of games. So if these guys look like people you might recognize from like Super Spike V-Ball or anything like that, that's why.
Where that's from.
Kind of looks a little bit like with that classic like feudal Japan looking areas. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Ganbare Goemon.
Yes. That ancient East Asian aesthetics.
Yeah,
for some reason the video is cutting in and out for me. It's very odd, but
sorry, man.
That's okay. It's okay. I've already seen all these. Can I wait? Hold on. I just want to make sure that it didn't cut in and out for the viewers. I don't care, but if it's cutting in and out of you guys, let us know because we'll look into it. If not, don't worry about it because, like I said, I've seen all these clips already. So, but yeah, it looks super fun. So, boy, if that's sort of I really want to try to co-op.
So this is
absolutely amazing,
and it's coming from Arc System Works. I mean, that doesn't seem like their typical wheelhouse, but I'm excited to see what they can do with it.
They might be just publishing it too, so that they may not have been a developer per se. Yeah, but I didn't look into whether they're developing or publishing. They just announced that that's the thing. So, but that could be either. Yeah. So the game will be available July 21st, 2022 on PS4, Switch, and the PC.
All right. So since you've already outed yourself as a secret Falcom hater.
Listen, I love East, so that's not fair. It's just trails.
Okay.
I also don't hate trails. I love East.
Why do you hate America, Baku?
No. I want all the Falcom fans to know that I love East.
I know. Okay, so I'll take on this next one though, because Falcom have announced that Trails of Cold Steel 1 through 4 and Trails into the Reverie. I hope I said that right. Reverie.
I have trouble with that.
Something. River. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reverie. That one. Trails into whatever will be available in a single complete box that will be released on July 28th of 2022, which is fantastic because I don't have any of the Trails of Cold Steel games as of yet. So I think,
hey, listen, I don't want to pop your bubble there, Derek, but this is only
I'm gonna go ahead and play this trailer right now. Oh, cool. It comes with a Japanese voice acting already. That's great.
I do appreciate this.
I sure hope this trailer doesn't have any spoilers for Trails of Cold Steel because, hey, what was that? Never mind. I don't want to see any of this.
What?
Wait, no, that guy's not. What?
What? What's going on? What? Who are these people? What?
Well, here I was actually just hoping to see a trailer for a box. I mean, that's what I came here for.
You know what's great, Derek? They're all in Japanese, so your spoilage is so limited.
I know. That's also why I'm like, yes, let's do this. Complete box.
Yes, the complete box on sale July 28th. Yes, so it is only in Japan, unfortunately, but
so far.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in just a second. But please continue.
Okay, so yeah, you can find the full thing at the official Falcom website. Links are in the description. Now, Falcom has also announced that Kuro no Kiseki will be getting a PS5 release, which will support 4K resolutions and 60 frames per second.
Yeah, all the frames.
As well as some quality of life improvements. PS4 upgrade version to the PS5 for 110 yen, or about $1. And also, you can transfer your save file to the PlayStation 5. The PS5 version will be releasing on July 27th of 2022 in Japan.
Yes. In Japan. Yes. Now, of course, we typically do not talk about Japan releases because it just doesn't matter to most of you, right? Most of you are not going to get the Japan release. But this is kind of an exception because, as any Trails fans know, like, this kind of gives you an expectation of what may be released in international, especially because Falcom doesn't really do simultaneous releases, internationally. But they sort of wait a little bit and then they release something extremely similar, especially for like the PS5 version. There's every reason to expect them to release a PS5 version for Kuro no Kiseki. For anyone who is lucky enough to score a PS5. So that's like gonna play into your like purchase decision, right? They may release PS4 early and then, but you know that you have a very healthy expectation for a PS5 version to come out if they don't release both at the same time, which I don't know why they won't, but Falcom release schedule is very strange and I was never able to make sense of it. So now for anyone who is living overseas and you're like, you know what, man, I love the Japanese version. I can read Japanese just fine. How do I get this? The pre-order is available on PlayAsia, so go check it out over there if you're just hungry for this box set or a PS5 version of Kuro no Kiseki with 60 FPS in 4K.
Ah, man, that's the thing. I don't know about you, and I know I don't speak for everybody, but like 60 FPS is nice. 4K is nice. They're just nice to haves, and they definitely don't like make or break an experience for me.
Absolutely, yeah.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when a lot of people talk about how bad the Switch is because it can't do 4K and most often doesn't do 60 FPS even at like 1080. I'm like, I don't care as long as like the game looks like nice and is like a good style and the art is cohesive. Like I don't really care. I mean, if it dips down to like 15 frames per second constantly, I'll probably like, yeah, that kind of pulls me out of it. But like, you know, if it's usually around 30 FPS, I'm good. I'm still, I guess, I feel like my old man eyes can't even discern 4K, can't even keep up with 60 frames. 60 frames per second just slows me down, man. Because my brain's trying to process all of them and I can't do it.
It's okay. For the viewers with the opposite viewpoint, no worries. I got your back. And I'm from the opposite end of the spectrum, which is please give me that 60 FPS because I can absolutely tell if it's 2K or 4K. I can absolutely tell between 1080p to that. My rebuttal, I guess, on a Switch is like I think take Xenoblade 3, for example, and someone had actually recently came to my Twitch channel and I was talking about this and they're just like, well, it looks good. And I'm like, well, I didn't say it doesn't look good. I'm not like attacking it. Like, I think it looks great, but just imagine how much better it could look. Like they put these developers are spending so much time, these artists, these talented people are making it as good looking as it can for a game that's exclusive to Switch, meaning that it cannot look better because of a hardware constraint. It's such a shame. Like this could look way better.
But on the bright
something
side,
else.
bright side, you can experience it better already. Like if you just, are okay with, doing a little bit of legal emulation. It is
on the Switch? I didn't know that there was a Switch emulation. Is there?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I
might want to look into it.
Yeah.
If one were so inclined. I mean, it's just an ARM-based CPU, right? I mean, like how hard is it to emulate an Android device?
That is fair. It's not like a PS3. I mean,
yeah,
it takes literally a rocket scientist to understand the PS3 architecture. Is insane.
That said, there have been let's just say it's harder to find videos on YouTube these days for some reason about how to do those sorts of things using your handheld Steam Deck, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, but hey, what do you guys thought on this? Let us know. You've heard from Derek's end, you've heard from my end. Where do you guys stand on this?
Yeah, Team Derek or Team Baku, who wins?
Yeah, hey, listen, don't hey, listen, you gotta comment from what your heart tells you, okay? Like I know this is the Derek channel, but hey, you guys gotta back me up on this, all right? There's gotta be people who likes high fidelity and higher refresh rates. Like I can't be the only person. Look, there are all these like PC bros who's spending like hundreds of dollars on graphics card. Come on, there's got to be some of you out there.
Well, I mean, you're one of those PC bros. Come on, let's be real.
Not really, to be honest. You know why? Because I don't play a lot of games that requires that kind of horsepower.
What's in your rig right now?
A 5700 XT, which is last gen and also not even top tier.
How does that compare to my GTX 970?
A lot better, but that's beside the point.
Okay, because I'm like my GTX 970 Ti is and I called it Ti because that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, but it's short for titanium. But anyways,
is it really? I never knew what Ti stood for.
Yeah, it's supposed to be for titanium. Okay. But yeah,
okay.
That's how out of the loop I am. I only know NVIDIA tiers based on those names. Yeah, and AMD graphics cards don't support NVENC, so I'm just like I can't really look into those now.
So you're like, so there's the 900 series, and then there's the 1000 series, and then the 2000 series.
In my secondary rig, I've got a RX 480.
Okay, that's not even good. I don't know how far.
Okay.
Yeah. So the 50 the Radeon like 5700, like that sort of competes with the 2070. So that's sort of like in that price range and category.
Okay. So like
you're looking at like,
so you're at least like
removed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you're at least within like the last 5 years of graphics cards. I'm like,
yes. I got lucky.
I'm a bit further beyond. Yeah.
Well, because I just built a PC.
My graphics cards are like
before
my 970 is like, you want me to run how many 4K displays? And it's like wait, you have 2 4K displays? Hang on a second. I don't know, dog.
I got one 1080 for you. Take it or leave it. Just, do you want this to work or not?
It's not even talking about playing games on it. It's like I can run Windows with 4K, 60 frames. You're pushing it.
I can display one color at 60 frames per second. Just one. You pick the color. No, I got lucky because it was the November right before the pandemic that I built a brand new PC.
Ooh,
Obviously, no one.
You were still dealing with some scalpers from Bitcoin and all that, but not nearly what it would become.
Well, no, I think it wasn't that bad. I went to the store and I just picked up the card. I didn't go through any of the hoops. Yeah, no, it was before all of that, before the Bitcoin boom.
I can't
before
remember
the pandemic.
What's that like to go into a store and buy graphics cards? I can't remember anymore.
Well, I went to Japan too. I don't remember. I'm starting to forget what that feels like. I just got back from Japan and I just bought a new PC. I spent thousands of dollars that month because of like just the two thing coincide. But I saved up all year to do that, so I wasn't like spending irresponsibly. It was Black Friday too, like near Black Friday. So like that's how I remember is like November time frame. But yeah. And then 2-3 months later, pandemic hits. It was just like, what happened? Right? Yeah. Yep.
Well, hey, I'm sorry to throw us completely off track for a little while. But,
that's okay. That's what some of the people are here for. Other ones are like, get back to the news. We'll get back to the news. Okay, I'm sorry. We got some anime news for you. Anime news, but also tying to JRPGs because we're still JRPG lovers at heart. Pokemon Hisuian Snow. So the Pokemon Company announced that Pokemon Hisuian Snow, which is a short anime series that's going to be based on the Pokemon Legends Arceus, will air for free May 18th, 2022. And the anime will feature a young trainer named Alec with his journey of his Hisuian. This is the hardest thing to say. Hisuian Zorua, which is kind of like a fox sort of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Now, for those who are interested, you can watch this on Pokemon TV and the official Pokemon YouTube channel, linked down below. And again, that's going to be May 18th. I believe that there are 3 episodes in this mini series, and it's completely free. So hey, Pokemon fans, if you just want more content, they're giving it to you for free on Pokemon TV and the official YouTube channel. So check it out.
That is pretty rad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cool. It's free. What do you want?
Can't argue with free.
Can't argue with free. Yeah.
So I mean, and I will commend you though for saying Hisuian. Hisuian.
You know what's so hard about it?
So it's hard.
It's a Japanese word, and then you have like a English like suffix.
Yeah,
like,
the N. Like Hisui is like, or Hisui. Yeah, it's easy.
Hisui is easy.
But then Ian.
Anyway, y'all get it. Yeah. You guys try to pronounce it and say it 5 times fast.
Well, anyways, I commend you. Well done. All right.
Thank you. Yes.
So we have another little bit of anime news here coming from the Legend of Mana, the Teardrop Crystal. So a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months ago. It's been a little while. We covered some of this news here, and we're finally getting a bit more information about this upcoming TV anime.
Yes.
So the show will focus on the Jumi arc. Jumi refers to the race of people. I hope I'm saying that right. Is that Jumi Jumi with a J?
Good enough.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out during the anime, I guess. Jumi refers to the race of people within the game, as well as the anime adaptation. And there's a thief going around stealing stuff from the Jumi people. Want to check out the trailer?
Let's do it.
Alrighty. Now, I will mention that last time we watched an anime trailer, we got content ID'd, unfortunately, so hopefully that doesn't happen this time.
Yeah, Shenmue, I remember you.
Oh, God. Yeah, I believe you mean Shenmue.
Oh, my God.
I know. I mean, it's actually...
I know.
At least that's how we pronounce it. I don't know if they ever actually say the word Shenmue in either the game or anime.
Like, when we're playing these trailers, you're cutting in and out a little bit. That's so strange. But I can't even hear the trailer. But again, as long as you folks out here watching can hear the trailer, that's all that really matters. But if I'm not responding to you, Derek, it's because for some reason you kind of cut in and out a little bit as the video plays.
I
It's
got
probably
you.
that sound suppression thing. I don't know, but
All right.
it's okay. I've seen this a couple of times, so we're good.
Well,
Yeah,
I
mean,
will
not a
say-
whole lot. Yeah.
I will say there's not a very good chance of everything getting copy claimed because there's really not too much this one.
Yes. Yeah, it's just the theme song and just a couple of screens. So I thought it was pretty safe. So hopefully that's fine. So yeah, so this is gonna revolve around the Jumi arc. I had to look into what that meant. Yeah, I remember it's like one of the last few arcs in the Legend of Mana series. So they're not touching on every single act. For anyone who's ever, have you ever played Legend of Mana, by the way, Derek? Do you remember?
I played a pirated copy on an emulator on my old IBM ThinkPad back in 2004, 2005. I think we're
So
beyond
you
the statute of limitations.
Probably don't remember.
I
much of
remember
it, if anything.
nothing. I did not get very
Yeah.
far either because it could not emulate it very well.
So, well, I mean, the base of the game is you put these things down on the map, and then you go and you explore, and then the story progress. The story doesn't really revolve around the main player per se, but the people that you meet. So one of the arcs is the Jumi people and
Okay.
all that fun stuff. And I just remember distinctively that's like near the end of the game. It's not like an early arc. So it would be interesting to see how they describe all this in the anime.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to talk about a lot of things before. They're going to focus on this arc. Well, how are they going to do it? I don't know. But hey, the art style looks really good. So I'm actually really excited for this TV anime, and it's going to air sometime this year in 2022. So be on the lookout for that.
So you ready to talk about the really juicy stuff?
Oh God, yeah. I do you want to do it? Or do you want me to do it?
I'll just observe from the peanut gallery and throw in my 2 cents every now and then.
Okay, well, let's talk about Square Enix, guys. You guys came here for Square Enix. We'll talk about Square Enix.
Oh my God,
Okay.
there's so much to say
Ooh.
about Square Enix. What are
Oh,
they
God.
doing, man?
When I was typing this docket, I was getting tired of typing Square Enix. I'm like, Square Enix, Square
Just
Enix.
Need to map it to a
Square Enix.
macro.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about just copy and pasting Square Enix, and every time I was just like, Control V, Control V, Control V. But okay, so first big news. If you guys haven't heard, the Sonic and Balan Wonderworld creator Yuji Naka sues Square Enix over his dismissal. In his recent multi-tweet thread, very charged tweet thread, Naka described the circumstances surrounding his removal 6 months prior to the game's release, which is crazy. And by the way, his removal is a joint decision by the producer, the head director, the sound director, public relation, and human resources. Does all these people agree that he should be removed, even if it's 6 months before the game release, which is
Wow.
insane.
That
I've never
I didn't
heard
realize
that before.
I didn't realize it was so unanimous, but that's
Yeah, wow. Right. Now, the untimely dismissal had led Naka, of course, to sue Square Enix, and now he's finally allowed to address the issue now that the lawsuit has ended. Now, for any of you guys out there who are like, oh, what does that mean in the legal system? Not only are we not US lawyers, we're also not Japanese lawyers.
this couldn't be further. This couldn't be any more true. The closest either Baku or I have come to Japanese law is, I believe, I own a copy of Ace Attorney, and haven't played it. And how about you, Baku? Have you played Ace Attorney?
I have not played Ace Attorney, but
Okay.
I am hanging out at a friend's stream right now who is streaming Ace Attorney.
Okay, that's the extent of our experience in Japanese law, to give you some context.
I've jaywalked in Osaka once. That's my closest thing to brush it. Oops. People jaywalk all the time in Osaka. Don't tell me otherwise. Not Tokyo though. Do not jaywalk in Tokyo. But Osaka is all game. Anyways, wow. Okay, the Japanese are like not happy with what I just said just now. Like they're like, how dare you? Look, tell me otherwise. Go to Osaka and you tell me this different. But anyway, so according to the court documents, there are two specific reasons to Naka's removal. Okay, and this took me some time to look into because again, the whole court case is kind of messy. So like he says, she said, but here's what I can, figure out at least from reading multiple sources. Part one, Naka had objected to plans to have a YouTuber by the name of Marasi to perform a piano arrangement of the Balin Wonderworld song for promotional purposes. Now, this Marasi YouTuber, he's not exactly a small timer. Like this guy's got 1.7 million follows. He's not some like no name whoever. Like he's kind of big in Japan. So it's not a weird decision to find, in fact, I thought it was great. We actually got a clip of set promotional video. Do you want to play that to let everyone see what we're talking about?
Let me see if this is the one. I think it is.
It's
okay.
The piano one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Piano one.
This is the guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Probably don't want to show too much of this.
Yeah. We don't have to show the whole thing, but just know that it's a very well made, very professionally made, and the guy is extremely talented. So yeah, there's this whole not a whole lot of reason I think that you would want to, but he was very strong in objecting to this, hence leading him into trouble with probably public relations, and he got into trouble because he was just really insistent on using the original arrangement of the song that's in the game. I think he's just not up with the times, because boy, having a internet influencer working with you to get these stuff out to their fan base is like marketing goal. This is dude crazy. Like I heard that, I'm like, that's part of the reason why you got in trouble. Are you nuts? Like
what a hill to die on. Yeah.
Like what? Okay, so let's move on to the second one. Now the second one, I kind of feel for him, but we can talk about it. According to Naka, the development company Arzest, I hope I'm pronouncing them correctly, was sending in submissions without resolving known technical issues. So in project management terms, basically we outsource to a team of developers. They keep sending stuff in, but it's still all wrong and they just won't fix the thing. Naka has a very strong stand and probably some pretty strong words against the development company that was straining the relationship between Square Enix and Arzest. Per the VGC translation, thank you VGC for doing the translation, Naka said, the business relationship with Arzest fell apart due to my comments about Arzest submitting the final build without fixing bugs, even though there were problems during development, and I was pushing for further polish. And to this point, Naka also said, we're making games, so it should be common sense to submit correction requests to make a better product. If you can't do that, then you can simply talk about it together. But apparently they, as in Arzest, can't do that. I don't think they care enough about games. And further adding, Square Enix and Arzest are companies that do not care about games or fans. Ending his round of tweets, Naka apologized to his fans for what he viewed was an unfinished product.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is
a lot to take in.
That's a lot to take in, especially given the context of like just Japanese culture. That is not something that you do in Japan. Like if you are a disgruntled worker, you do not go public about it. You basically tuck it in and then it resolves itself when you die. Like that's like the Japanese way of conflict resolution with employment, because that's just so in a way it's weird to see him like eschewing modern methods of like getting like influencers out there to help spread your brand, but at the same time in embracing modern conventions of I'm going to Twitter to lay it all out there and air the dirty laundry and in no uncertain terms talk about the disdain that you feel like the company had for fans, and that's spicy stuff.
Yeah. Oof, boy. I mean, what Square Enix is this company doesn't care about games or fans? Have you seen Babylon's Fall?
I mean, hey, so let's be real though. The Square Enix is not just one entity though at this point. Like there's a bunch of different sides to Square Enix. The Square Enix that makes Babylon's Fall is not the same Square Enix that makes Balan Wonderland, is not the same Square Enix that makes Secret of Mana or Trials of Mana remake or Triangle Strategy. Like they have something like, I want to say like 11 or 12 different studios divisions of just Square Enix, like proper, and not to include some other stuff we'll talk about shortly about their other divisions.
Fun stuff.
Lots of fun stuff. Like Square Enix is not like a monolith. I mean, they all fly under one banner, but yeah, it sounds like there was definitely some craziness going on, at least at this one where Naka was working.
Yeah, absolutely. And to Derek's point, you no further than Final Fantasy 14, right? With Yoshida, in the helm. Ask any fans, like there's like that team is super like reactive to fans' expectations, and is really good about like fixing bugs and letting fans know where they stand, what's coming next on the roadmap. Like they're super good about PR, and they the fans feel like they really care about the community. I've heard nothing but good things. Of course, there'll always be some complaints, of course, but majority of the people who play FF14 are like, the story is great. You can even play as a single player. It seems like they really care about the fans. So that's like one great bright spot, right? But on the other hand, you got stuff like this, right? Where it's just insane. I would love to just like take Naka's like precision and just go off on Square Enix and be like, oh, what a terrible company. But I've worked in software development for a while now, and I've got to say, like, when the truth is probably a lot more complicated, and it's probably not like a black and white situation.
More nuanced.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot more nuance. Like here's what I think probably happened is this Arzest company is definitely not like doing what they're supposed to, and Naka is probably pushing back, but the method of which he pushed back probably got some folks really upset. So
I will say that this is something when you work for a bigger company, it's not usually like screwing up that's going to get you fired. It's how you react to what happens next. Like if someone tells you to calm down and you say, I will not calm down, and then you go on this tirade about this and that, and you don't know what the you're doing, like if it's that sort of stuff that follows, it's your ego that will get you fired and let go, I think, following some sort of mess up, right? So part of me wonders like how much of this, like, to have so many people unanimously being like, dude, he can't be here anymore. Like, that speaks volumes.
Especially in Japanese work culture, like the firing someone is not, it's like firing someone, it's like whatever, it's like Tuesday in America, but like firing someone is not as easy or common in Japanese work culture. So I just want to remind people that we're dealing with a different culture here, and this is a way bigger deal than just some dude getting fired in the States. Like,
that's true.
So
in a lot of ways,
I'm just like,
a lot of ways, like Japan is like America like 50 years ago, and it's really weird because like in the same way of like the dedication to like a corporation, and then they'll treat you kind in return, like that still exists in some places, and and it sounds like Japan is kind of like one of those kinds of places still that that will usually take care of its people. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Ooh,
It's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot. Yeah. What do you guys think probably happened? Like, I mean, look, we're fine with talking about conspiracy. Let us know in the comments, especially if you are, aware of Naka's like previous work. I know there's this whole video that talks about Naka in his Sonic days, and it did not speak about him favorably, and in fact points to a lot of the, previous Sonic like issues on him. Of course, there are multitude of issues, but it was pretty scathing. So I have not finished that video because I just found it right before, so I was writing the docket. But let us know if you're sort of like a Sonic sort of historian, you know some backstory about Naka. We would love to know from you.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one, Nick, you want to cover the next one? It's Square Enix again.
Yeah. Okay. And this is actually the one that really just made me very curious about what Square Enix is doing, to the point where I took to Twitter. That's what I did. I took to Twitter.
I saw you.
And I said, "What are you doing, Square Enix?"
Listen, for the record, I was already asking what Square Enix doing last podcast with the $12,000 terror statue.
Yeah.
And Sakaguchi also asked, Are you okay, Square Enix?
Exactly.
We're not the only ones, okay?
Yeah. So something's going on with Square Enix these days. And maybe this confluence of events might lend some extra credence to Naka. I don't know. But hey, listen to this. Embracer Group, which is basically a group of millionaires in like Europe somewhere, are buying a bunch of stuff from Square Enix for about $300 million, and that includes Eidos. Yeah, Swedish-based publisher Embracer Group, formerly THQ Nordic, has acquired Eidos from Square Enix for $300 million US, which some people say is not very much. For reference, Embracer acquired Borderlands developer Gearbox for about $1.3 billion in 2021. And the acquisition will see Embracer obtain Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, as well as a portfolio of IPs including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, and the Legacy of Kain series. Square Enix will continue to produce their overseas development series such as Just Cause, Outriders, and Life is Strange.
That's correct, yeah.
Yep. Square Enix, in their press release, stated that the transaction would enable them to launch new businesses and to move forward with planned investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud, which would no doubt include probably things like NFTs. And that Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda.
Good enough.
Yosuke Matsuda is tripling down on. So kind of interesting stuff. So I will say that there's some additional things that's going on here besides just the $300 measly million. So apparently this also works. They also in this deal cleaned a lot of Square Enix's prior debts as part of the transition. So that's a very interesting thing. So we're looking at a Square Enix now that has many fewer Western development studios and way fewer debts than they had before. I think that they're supposed to be up to like, as I understand it, they might have no debts anymore at all, which that's a good place to be.
Well, debts is, I mean, if you ask an accountant, debts is great. I mean, fine, a corporate accountant, that is, debts is great for a publicly traded company if you have the earnings to back it.
Yeah.
There are these like, debt to, what is debt to revenue sort of ratio that tells you the health of the company. But when it's too high, obviously you're not making enough money with the money that you're borrowing, then that's terrible. So to your point, if they can lower that debt, it does make their bottom line look a lot better.
But also in doing so, they sold off some of their best performing studios, as I understand it. Some of the studios that make the most money, like Tomb Raider. That's a pretty consistently well-selling IP.
Yeah, that's very strange. Only for $300 million. I know.
Kind of makes you wonder how many debts they had prior.
Yeah, no, and again, I know 300 million sounds like crazy big money for individuals, but again, the same group of people bought Gearbox 1.3 billion with the B. So 300 million is really a really great deal for them to get Tomb Raider, just Tomb Raider series and Deus Ex. I would imagine would already be like 300 million right there because they are huge, well-known, well-respected at this point, series that Square Enix isn't doing a whole lot with. So maybe that's the thing is.
Oh yeah,
they're not doing a whole lot with.
They were definitely not capitalizing on Legacy of Kain. Like when's the last time that had a new entry? PlayStation 2?
Yeah, like PlayStation 2, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, they're sitting on a lot of IPs, even in the Japanese company. I've complained about it all the time. They sit on all these amazing IPs and they don't make any new games with it. It drives you crazy.
Like Konami, for instance.
Well, Konami is like just the worst of, at least Square Enix still makes games. They're just extremely slow about it. Konami is just straight up like, what IP? What are games? You mean
Exactly.
Pachinko? I got Pachinko is a game.
Yeah. So I mean, like, at least we can say Square Enix hasn't gotten like Konami bad yet.
Yeah.
So here's a little part of like the presser that they put out for the purpose of the transaction, and I want to provide some emphasis here on a couple of things, because a lot of people are getting a little touchy, a little upset about a couple of the mentions of AI, the cloud, and blockchain, which gets people a bit on edge. So here's the full context here for that statement.
The transaction will assist the company in adapting to the changes underway to the global business environment by establishing a more efficient allocation of resources, which will enhance corporate value by accelerating growth in the company's core businesses in the digital entertainment domain. In addition, the transaction enables the launch of new businesses by moving forward with the investment in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud. The move is based on the policy of the business structure optimization that the company set forth under a medium-term business strategy unveiled in May 13th, 2021.
I think Baku's dead. But
oh shit, I'm sorry. Wow, okay. Wow, that was like a sleeping pill.
But what that really let me just add a little extra emphasis here. Let me just add a little bit more emphasis on this one part in the very beginning here. It will enhance corporate value by accelerating growth in the company's core business, in the digital entertainment domain. Core business in the digital entertainment domain. Okay, just re-emphasizing that this is not a statement saying we're going all in on blockchain. They're still saying that their core business is the digital entertainment domain. Just to throw that out there, but they're also going to be investing in these other things. So a lot of people are like, they heard the blockchain and they're in the back of their minds, they're hearing NFTs, they're hearing crypto, and they're getting really angry. And I honestly, I feel like that's not, I feel like that's a big nothing burger. At this point, find me a company that's not, at least in some way, investing or looking into investing in some blockchain technology, because that's the buzzword of the day, especially from, this is part of their plan that they unveiled last year, almost a year ago, in May 13th of 2021. Nobody was complaining about it then.
Yeah.
Or at least if they were, I wasn't doing the news segment about it.
Okay, so they touched on three things, right? Blockchain, AI, cloud, right?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, let's break them down, right?
Emergent technologies.
what tech folks? So I mean, big data, right? Let's add big data in there too, because
Sure,
that's basically what it is. So cloud, I mean, what your Google Drive is cloud. Like that's nothing scary about
Yeah.
cloud.
Yeah,
Cloud
your
is
cloud is
cloud.
just somebody else's computer.
Yeah. I mean, AI could mean like, artificial learning, so that, the say when you're fighting certain enemies in the game, like that's also AI, but like a much like
I feel
it's not
like
true AI. It's like
yeah.
an algorithm. It's not true
Mhm.
AI, but imagine being able to fight enemies that's like backed with true AI, and that's kind of cool. So I can
Dude, that
see
game would be
that
too
where
hard. That game would be way too
oh
hard.
yeah,
Have you ever played
but
chess against even
yes.
bad real AI? Is like
Oh yeah,
they
they
destroy.
learn. Yeah, they will destroy you. But like, but the prospect of it is fascinating. Okay,
Yeah.
blockchain. Now, I talked a little bit in my stream about blockchain because I worked with blockchain, and blockchain in of itself really is not scary. It's just a decentralized ledger. That's all it is.
Hmm.
Cryptocurrency is one function that's built on this decentralized ledger.
Yeah.
So blockchain does not equal crypto. Crypto is a derivative of that. Same thing with NFT. NFT is a derivative of this. Blockchain in of itself is fine.
It's like if everybody had
Uh,
an Excel file that they saved via like torrenting.
yeah, basically, and just broken
And you
into
can
pieces
just add new rows to the Excel file.
and no removal.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all
yeah, a
that is.
pen. Yeah,
That's
it's a pen only decentralized ledger. Yeah, see, Derek knows. But yeah, but I guess that the problem with Square Enix specifically is because the president himself has not once, not twice, but three times literally tripling down on NFT specifically as part of the future of gaming.
mhm.
So I think that's where the scary part is, and no
Yeah.
one knows what that looks like.
And I feel
Right?
like
So
you're right. That's the thing.
yeah,
Nobody's seen it done well yet. We've only ever seen it done very poorly so far. And
scam.
and it,
Yeah.
yeah, every like as
Mhm.
of right now, I've not seen blockchain used for anything not bad. And that's
Yeah.
but I feel like there is power there to do
Mhm.
something good. I don't know what it is
Yeah.
yet. That's somebody else's job to figure out. That's
That's what I did. So I can give an example of like
oh yeah.
actual constructive blockchain technology implementation, which is in if in a government setting where you have like land deeds, car titles that are
Okay.
held in a centralized system, but you're afraid of them being hacked. So you can put it into a blockchain. So let's say Derek, you have a card, you have what is it, a card title, you sold this, you report to the DMV. The DMV can append that data
Mhm.
and move that over to the next person. And that title can be an NFT, which is non-fungible because why would you break up a title? You can't, right?
Right.
So it is by definition non-fungible anyway. So it is just a token. There's smart contracts that's built in. That's good. There's no crypto involved,
Right.
no mining. It's just a storage of record, and
Mhm.
it's decentralized. So it's harder for people to ransomware like a government
Yeah. You
body,
can't
right?
just hack into the DMV and say I own Jeff Bezos's Lamborghini now.
Exactly. And worse yet, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but like government body around the world are getting ransomware,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And guess who's paying these ransom if you need to get it back or just fix the issue? Taxpayers, right? So if you can decentralize the ledger, in theory, it would be more secure. And again, none of that involved any kind of cryptocurrency, any kind of mining, any like bad things with their environment,
Mhm.
nothing,
Yeah.
right? So that's a good implementation. But how does that work in game? I would say there's really nothing that games would need this technology for
Yeah.
personally.
Not yet.
I've really thought about it. I've
Yeah.
taken some time to just really think like, is there a good non-scammy, non-environmental damage, no mining way that a game can implement NFT that makes sense, that their current technology can't do this current thing anyway? And I can't think of anything.
I
There's
can't either.
nothing.
Not yet,
There's-
anyway.
yeah, not yet anyway. I mean,
And
feel
I
free
think-
to prove me wrong, but
And I think that if something were to exist, it would, or to eventually be created, it will be because people invested time and money into the process of
yeah.
figuring it out. So hopefully this idea pans out in the long run. But this is, if this is going to become a thing, and it seems like a
Yeah.
lot of people are convinced that it will be. I'm not necessarily one of them just yet. But if we're going to get to a point where that is the future of gaming, we've got some work to do.
Ah, jeez. I think it's just a lot of rich people investing into this idea, not willing to back down that this is not a good idea.
Just
I honestly
refusing
think so.
to acknowledge
Yeah.
that they're just throwing good money after
what's
bad.
that called? What's that called?
Gambler's
Something
fallacy.
There you go. Yeah, it's exactly that. Like
Sunk
they're
cost
just refusing
fallacy.
to make they're just refusing to make that U-turn. It's like, this is clearly a terrible idea, but let's sink more money into it. And so before we move on to the next thing, for the record, for anyone who is about to like hate comment, okay, it's just, again, we don't think NFT is a good idea for gaming. Okay, despite me giving a good example of how it can be implemented in the real world, that says nothing about games, right? I don't think that there's a really place for it. But hey, if you feel differently, let us know what that implementation looked like, and also, please be civil.
Yeah, I just can't
okay.
find. It's one of those things. I feel like I can't write off all of this entire technology yet because so far it's a very young technology, and while everything that it's been used for so far has sucked, as far as like Ethereum and Bitcoin,
especially Ethereum.
Yeah, like
especially Ethereum,
because it's just so bad for the environment. Like that's like, I can't find an appropriate like comparison right now because there's really not much else like it. But because it's so new, I want to see what other people can do with it. I want to see what it can do and if there is something viable there. But yeah, as of yet, the answer is probably not.
It's the technologist in us that wants to see technology like be used for good.
I want to see the future, man, and I want this to be part of the future. We'll see. We'll see if it can be.
We'll see.
I want my flying cars already. Dang it.
Self-lace shoes. Oh, they came up with that. It's just really expensive.
Yeah, and they're really loud.
Yeah. Oh, they're really loud. Yeah, it's just not worth it. Alrighty, let's talk about some merch stuff. Oh boy, this is fun. So Atelier. Oh, sorry, no. Hold on, we missed one part. I'm so sorry. No merch stuff yet. One more weird corporate news.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna get some people riled up over this one. So my apologies. Sony is now requiring game devs to provide free trials to the PlayStation Plus premium subscribers. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that. But just the premium subscribers. So there's going to be like 10 of them.
Yeah. So we did talk briefly about it. So you probably, because we didn't get into it. But at the time, I didn't think it was going to be a kind of a big deal. But now it's showing that it might be. So hear us out, right? We talked about something called a time limited game trials, and that's one of the main perks to the PlayStation Plus premium subscriber, which is a mouthful, right?
Yeah.
Which is the highest tier, costing you $17.99 US per month. Okay, so there are three tiers. There's the regular tier, which is basically your current PSN subscription, which I have, which is fine.
Yeah.
And then there's like a middle tier, and then like the premium top tier, and that's where the $18 comes in. One of the perks is called time limited game trials, and I guess at the time I didn't really think twice, like time limited game trials, whatever. Like I'm like, how is that even a perk? Well, like here
it sounds like a demo.
Yeah, it sounds like a demo. What exactly is, but in order to make good on that promise to the consumers, Sony is now requiring developers to create demos for any games priced at $34 or higher within 3 months of launch and be available on PSN for at least 12 months. This rule is not retroactive, so once we move in, don't expect old games to suddenly have these trials, but new games moving forward after the June switch over, that rule will be in place. So any game selling for $34 or higher, and if you are a PlayStation Plus premium subscribers, expect to have these time trials available.
That's interesting.
Now, yeah.
Like,
So
I wonder
So go ahead.
what some of the gosh, I wonder what they're like when they say time trials. Like, are they saying like you can play this game for X number of hours? Is that the same number of hours per game? Is it different? Can the company specify? Oh, you can play the game for 20 minutes, or something like that. Like, I wonder what the extents here are.
I think time limited is referring to its availability on PSN. Yeah, so
not
that
how much
whole
time you can
12
actually
months
put in.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm still waiting for more. From what I've gathered, it seems to point to that thing because that's part of the clause is you need to keep it available for X amount of time. You could remove it after some time, but it needs to. And so I guess the question to everybody who is in here is, do you think that's a good idea? Would you benefit from this? Provided that you're paying $18 a month, would you benefit from this?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I can't put myself in that shoes of that person because as myself, I play one game at a time. And I just play it forever until it's done, and then I go on to the next one from my backlog of games from the past. Right? So I can't. I don't know. What would a normal person do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess
so.
It would be cool to be able to play a bunch of. I mean, it sounds kind of like Xbox Game Pass, right? Where you just have access to games for a while that are kind of newish. That's kind of neat.
So, well, here's some food for thought, right? So let's look at it from like developer standpoint, right? And I know I'm seeing some comments there like, oh, Sony will develop it if internally for the company. And I'll address that in just a second. But let's say that that's not the case. Let's say that Sony's not going to help. You have to do it by yourself. And I would imagine that most big companies will have no problem. It's the smaller indie developments that's gonna really run into issues with because guess what? Creating demos it takes development time. It takes people to do that. They don't just magically happen. And it's not like, oh well, just take the finished game and just cut it off so that you only get to play the first 2 hours. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like you can just like magic scissors, just here's the 2 hours. There you go. That's the time trial. That's not how it works, right? And also, a lot of times, these game developers will literally work until the last day to get all the things in, and sometimes even beyond that, with all those update fixes that we talk about. Now you're removing their talents from doing all of those things. So not only are we running into delays, now they have to spend extra time doing these things, which may impact the quality of that product that you would otherwise pay for because of a mandate. Now, if a company has already planned out resources to do a demo because that's part of their marketing strategy, they have the budget for it, then that's all good and fine. That's to their directives, right? But this is a mandate.
Yeah.
Now, again, talking about like, okay, well, what if Sony comes in and helps them out? Which, would be welcome help. But yeah, it's not as if they have Sony people embedded into the development process. Someone from that team is still going to have to work with Sony to get this thing developed. So no matter how you slice it, you are definitely going to take resources from the development team to make these demos, which you may or may not even enjoy, and only for a small subset of people who would pay for that $18. But everyone kind of suffers some degree of talent loss in developing a game.
What I would do if I was Sony and I wanted to implement something like this. My method of doing this would be to make a part of PlayStation that like I would probably make it time based, honestly, just like playtime based rather. And I would build something into the service that tracks playtime because we already have that. Like that's already built in. PlayStation 5 will easily track how long you've played X game or Y game or Z game.
Yeah.
And then just lock off access to it after maybe a specified amount of time. Like if you have a game and it's like expected to be able to be beaten in 20 hours, then I would say maybe a 5-hour trial or something. And then after 5 hours, cuts you out. And then you wouldn't actually have to spend any developer time because it would be something that would be blocked. It would be handled on the back end by Sony. Like that's if I were in charge of Sony and I needed to make sure that I had something like this and to not like crush the smaller developers or burden the larger developers who I wouldn't want to jeopardize my relationships with. Like that's I think the way I would go about doing this. Now I don't obviously I am not Sony, and Sony probably doesn't make the best decisions all the time. Do we have any details on like what this is going to entail? Like could this be something that they're doing? Because that would be really pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would be the least impactful way of handling that situation.
Especially if it's for games that have already been out or they are releasing. It says within like 3 months of going live, right? So maybe they release a game and maybe on the 3-month mark on the dot they say, okay, here's that free like 5 to 10 hours of game, play your heart out, see if and if you make it to the end and you want to see the rest, you got to buy the game. By that point you're hooked. It's like a sales tactic, put the product in the customer's hand, as they say. So it could be a really smart way to do things. I hope it's what they do, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like demos when they're available. I don't like that it is a mandate. And again, I do see like a lot of folks are like, yeah, PlayStation will handle it. Like I don't know that's the case. I think that's only for first party. But if that is the case, I'm not writing you guys off, but if that is the case, maybe I'm just over analyzing this thing. Maybe it's not really that big a deal. Definitely wouldn't put it past that. But until I really see how it's implemented, this is what we're gathering today. So we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. But it's an interesting thought experiment of sort of like, what kind of scenarios are we running into? Do demos really matter? Do you guys even enjoy demos? I do. Again, when they're offered, I would try it out. There has been games where I tried a demo and I'm just like, yeah, not for me, not going to do that.
Especially if the save file carries over. That's nice.
Oh, a lot of games carry over now, which is really nice. Yeah, it wasn't the case back then. And then there are games where I played a demo and I just day one-ed it. Nier Automata was such a game. I played a demo and I'm like, boom, this is great stuff. Day one, brought it, never looked back. It was great. So I don't know. What are y'all thoughts, man? I'd love to know what you guys think, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I would like for things to be better for gamers and not worse. So that's where I was dropped. Okay. So about that merch drop.
Yeah. That merch drop. Tell us about that merch drop there, Baku.
Okay. Oh boy, this is fun. Okay. So for everybody who's just watching, did you ever feel like you just have way too much money to burn?
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that's me right there. Just so much
cash
to burn.
So much cash. Yeah. Or that your estate just needs more art pieces to fill the empty void. Did you hear about the Final Fantasy VI Terror statue from our last podcast and thought to yourself, $12,000? That's peasant number.
Peasantry.
Well, peasantry. Well, prepare for this new, life-size, unique Sophie display, completed with a background from Atelier Sophie that will cost a modest amount of just 6 million yen. Got you guys there. Yeah, I thought that I was going to say $6 million. It's actually 47,000 US dollars. If you thought 12,000 was bad, hello. Oh boy, I mean, 12,000, that's nothing. That's like, no, this is 47,000 US dollars. Do you want to take a trailer where they prepare the handcrafted display?
Is that the 1/ or is that
let's see. It's the 1/. Yeah. 1/ is life size. Yeah. No, not a $1,200, $12,000. $12,000 for the Terra statue.
Yeah.
I just saw chat say 1,200. I'm like, no, 12,000.
I saw a comment.
Add a zero
in the chat.
Add a zero to that.
I saw a comment in the chat earlier today that said that we inspired them to go down the rabbit hole of 3D printing.
I need to see this. I need to. If you do 3D print, let me know, because I would love to see what you end up.
A life-size Sophie. Go for it, guys.
A life-size Sophie. Yeah, this is the life-size Sophie. Look at them working diligently and just painstakingly paint the background. And oh my god, look at, wow. Oh, look at that. I don't know what that is.
That's fiberglass. That's fiberglass casting.
Ooh. Wow. I bet it comes with like a lifetime warranty. Like if anything chips. Look at that. Life-size Sophie. Life-size. Life-size.
Wow. That's
some dedication.
It's pretty intense. Yeah.
Looks good, but man, this is $47,000. That's a car right there. That's a good car. Two Civics. That's two Civics. It's just, like $47,000. You're like, what does that mean? Two Civics. That's two Civics.
That's a third of how much my house costs. Like, I could buy 1/3 of a house with that money.
Okay. I know. Hey, listen. I know a lot of you guys are out there and you're just like, God, not again, HitPoint. Why are you just bringing all these like 12,000 and 47,000? We don't care. Like, I don't care. This is just crazy. You know what you might care about, hear me out, is that unlike Square Enix, who is crazy in thinking that they can commercialize $12,000 figures, this is just a one unique display that they happen to sell. Yes, this is just the one.
A one-of-a-kind sculpture. This is actually the sort of thing. Remember how last week I was talking about like that's a bad investment because it's not one of a kind?
Yeah.
This is one of a kind. This hypothetically is a better art investment than one of those like 1 of 500s.
Wow. With the background is unique. They are making this available for sale, but I just really doubt a whole lot of people will be getting this, to be very honest with you. Like it's like you can order it. Like if you have the money, you can order it.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine that many people will. If anything, I don't know who would even buy that one with the background.
Well,
but
you did mention to me once upon a time that the Atelier series is among the most popular in Japan, especially among women gamers, right?
Yes.
So lady gamers.
Lady gamers.
I just hate using the word female. I like whenever somebody refers to like I don't know, whenever somebody refers to that as female gamers, I'm like, ugh. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like it's somehow derogatory, right? Like I don't know what the right thing to say is. If you're
gamer gals.
If you're in that group of gamers, definitely let us know what you would prefer us to say, because we're not trying to offend anyone. Obviously,
I just whenever somebody says the word female, like it's a scientific term, it's like, oh, I don't like that. I don't know. Guys and gals. That's dudes and dudettes. That's what we'll do, and everything between.
Absolutely. Yeah, I call everyone dudes, regardless of gender. It's just gender neutral thing that I just call people. But anyways, so all you gamers, of course. Now, so the last piece I was going to touch on, which is, unlike Square Enix, there is actually a 1/7 scale, which is very normal in scale figures, like either 1/8 or 1/7. That will have the same pose as the one that you just saw, a lot smaller, but only $200 US, which is again very par for figures.
That sounds reasonable by comparison.
Wow!
Pocket change.
Pocket change. No, but I mean, listen, $200 is not exactly a small number. But in the world of figure collecting, $200 is it's actually extremely reasonable,
I know.
especially with the inflation too. So
At this point, I mean, it sounded like I was joking, but like by comparison to like 12,000, 50,000, oh, 200. Oh yeah, I could do that.
yeah, so there you go. If you
I could make
guys are
that work.
thinking, if you guys are thinking, I just want to give you more shock news. Not really. There's an actual thing that I think you guys may be interested in buying, which is $200 version, 1/7 scale, exact same pose and everything. Actually looks really good. I looked at it. I contemplating on it. It's like, do I like Sophie enough for the $200 one, not the 47,000 one, please? But yeah, but definitely check that out. The pre-order is available on AmiAmi, which I have recommended many times for picking up these things. So, I heard this news initially because of the whole like $47,000 thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the shocker, like, title, right?
Yeah, it's the headline
But
grabber.
then it's the headline grabber, right? But then they say, yeah, by the way, we have ones that are selling for $200, which is extremely fair. And then I thought to myself, well, how do we compare with just Gus, by the way, Gus and Toei Tecmo are the people who mix the Atelier series. How are they handling this versus like, Square Enix?
It's like the marketing genius, I feel like, by comparison. Because it's like, oh, yeah, Square Enix got those massive headlines, and they're not going to be able to capitalize on it unless somebody's got $12,000 just rattling around in there. Yeah. But then these guys are like, yeah, we got headlines, but also we got stuff you can afford too. Here, check this out.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so smart.
I just feel like the $12,000 thing, that's just like a slap in the face. Like I read the comments too from last video and I saw someone, and it hurts to read this too. Someone said, I'm willing to put in 6K, which is more than what I personally would pay. But the person continued to explain, said, well, me and my fiance, or I think fiance or wife, like we both love Final Fantasy 6. So it kind of makes sense for the two of us. But 12K, that's just out of our affordability. And I'm just like, wow, what a shame. Like,
I know.
This is a slap in the face for any Final Fantasy 6. Like, no, you're too poor to be a fan. You cannot be a big fan because you're too poor. And shame on you for not making enough money and afford a $12,000 figure. But here we are, it's like $200. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine being able to afford this, right? Incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah, so check it out. I think they're doing the right thing. Like Derek said, they got the attention grabber and they're able to push product that is actually reasonable. So thank you, Atelier team.
Yeah.
All right.
We got some more merch here, right?
Yeah, boy. Okay. Let's do you want to hop on over to
share your screen here? Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Say when.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Nope.
Yeah. No. What happened?
Nope. I don't see anything on your screen. I see.
Oh shoot! I opened it in the wrong screen.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, it was just like a blank window, or a blank Chrome window or something. I think.
Hold on. Fix that.
No worries. So, everybody from our stream, how y'all doing today? Hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful Monday evening so far.
For some reason, it's not. Is it still not pulling up at all?
Do you want to check again? I can check again.
Yes, please.
Nope, still shows me an open Firefox window.
That is so strange. I don't see that anywhere. It's like, what window are you sharing?
I mean, you can see the screen I'm sharing, right?
Yeah. It's very strange that it is not. Like I replaced the link in there, and
that's okay. Just send me the link through Discord, and I'll share my screen.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So let's, why don't you look at this link real quick?
You got it.
Why I fix this issue?
All right. I'm sharing my screen now.
Okay. So
All
you want
right.
to scroll to all the way to the bottom.
Ooh, past all of the. Oh, there's that Kingdom Hearts keychain, all the way down to the very, very
Actually, hold on.
bottom.
Go to keychains, pouches, and more. Actually, scroll down. Yeah, down.
Okay.
Down, all the way down. Yeah. So we got some new merch right here to your far right. That $134.99. I kind of want to talk about this because I don't know if this is a good idea or is the Square Enix being crazy again. So there are two sets of pins, anniversary pins that just got announced today. Kingdom Hearts 2 anniversary pins box. And I know you like pins, so I wanted to bring this up.
Oh, I do
if nothing
like
else,
pins.
yeah, if nothing else, because you like pins, but it's $135.
So
And I'm
that's
just like,
oh, okay. So it's a
yeah,
set of enamel pins. I see.
yeah. I'm
One,
just like,
two,
they're
three,
good, but are
five,
they
six,
$135
10,
goods?
11. So there's like 11 pins in here.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that reasonable? I don't know because I don't really do pins.
It's
Like,
only reasonable if you want them all anyway. Like that's the thing. Like, are they just like if I could, I just buy this one for like 20, maybe 15.
I mean, they do look good.
Like, let me buy just this one, but they're not gonna let me. They're gonna make me
Of
buy
course not.
all of these, which look honestly a little low effort. I mean, they it's just box art. It's just box art. So
I like the frame.
The frames are okay, but that's really
but taken as a whole, like I'm like, I don't know about this.
It's like it's like they're bundling a bunch of stuff together in order to make you buy the bundle when you really just want the one piece from the bundle, you know?
Someone in chat said, "What powers do those pins give you?" Listen, this is not the world ends with you, which I'm incidentally streaming right now. But yeah, this is not the world ends with you. No special powers.
Now that would be something they should do. Is the world ends with you pins? Like that would be cool.
What? Yeah, why didn't they? Oh, right, because the cell number wasn't great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, because the game is fine. This is strange that it's not getting enough love. But yeah, just wow, 100. But hey, listen, if you guys are a big Kingdom Hearts fan, 20th anniversary, and you like pins, check it out. It's in the store. You can pre-order it right now in Square Enix store. So go nuts. Don't let me dissuade you. But this one looks good. This one seems like it's a little more effort than the other one.
The which one?
The heart one.
Yeah, the main pin, the one that's like all of the Kingdom Hearts.
20th.
Yeah. That's
the one. That's about it. That's about it.
That's the one where I'm like, I want that one, and that's it. That's all I want. That one. I don't want to go and buy a pin with the cover art of Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Dream Drop Distance. I don't care about any of those. Just do not need. But that 25th anniversary one looks really nice.
Yeah. Well, that's how they get you, right? It's the bundle thing. They give a really good one and some not so good one. They're like, but you have to buy all of them.
Exactly.
Boy, yeah. Alrighty. Well, the last piece, I swear I'm done with giving like, fantastical kind of like merch. This is actually cool stuff now. Okay. Did you guys know that it's Golden Week right now? Do you guys know what Golden Week is? Do you know what Golden Week is?
I've heard of Golden Week. I couldn't, if somebody asked me to describe what Golden Week is, I would tell you it's a week that they have off in Japan and in China also, but it's a different Golden Week maybe.
Yes.
But basically it's a holiday where everybody goes home to visit their families for like an extended period, kind of like spring break, but like better. And there's a bunch of sales going on.
Yes, absolutely. So there's Golden Week sale everywhere right now. Everywhere you look, if you're a JRPG gamer, you're seeing Golden Week plastered everywhere. So what exactly is Golden Week? Well, I'm here to tell you. Golden Week is actually a collection of 4 national holidays. I can't tell you which one off the top of my head because I'm not Japanese, but just know that there are 4 national holidays
Mhm.
and they're spaced out in like a span of 7 days. So because of the way that it is, it creates a situation where people are just like, you know what, I'm not going to take day off and then go back and then take another day off. I'm just going to have like a week off, right? So
Yeah.
hence Golden Week's book.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like Thanksgiving, how we have the Friday
Mhm.
after Thanksgiving, you know,
Yep,
except
kinda like that.
better.
Except better because it's a whole week and it's national and is well recognized. Even for workaholics in Japan, they'll take this week off gladly.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a great time. Unfortunately for us, because it's Golden Week, next week's show is probably going to be a little thin because no one's working in Japan. So probably very little news, but we'll
maybe
see.
If it's really thin, we'll take off Golden Week too.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how the news cycle goes this coming week, but expect there to be very little words from Japan because everyone is just not working. They're all just visiting family. They're having fun.
Yeah.
Let them take off, please. They're hardworking people. But what this means to the rest of us who don't live in Japan is really just really great deals on Japanese games. Like Golden Week sales become a thing in recent years.
Mhm.
And so you see massive sales on PSN, Xbox, Nintendo Store, and also Steam. So basically,
Yeah.
any platform that you would play on, there's this crazy sale going on. Now,
Last year,
on
I got all the Trails of Cold Steel game, or not Cold Steel, Trails in the Sky games, super cheap.
You did during Golden Week sale?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's like a tradition that they constantly go on sale for like 10, 15 bucks each. So it's a great time to get into the games if you're interested.
No, absolutely. Like I know a lot of you guys are like waiting for those sales to drop. And it's just like, you know, I'm just really waiting for that game price to drop. Now might be a good chance to see that. So,
Especially if you want digital games. Especially digital.
Especially if you want digital. Well, I think yeah, for mostly digital game. Now I do want to touch up on one thing, which is in doing research for the show today. I was not able to find a Steam Golden Week like collaborative sale, which they did last year, but I don't know why they didn't do it this year. So if you try to find like Steam Golden Week sale 2022, you're not going to find like you know, one giant Steam sale. But instead, what you will find is individual publisher doing Golden Week sale. So Square Enix, Capcom, Bamco, Koei Tepco, Spike Chunsoft, Nippon Ichi, Sega, Digica, they all have their own sale. And I have kindly listed all the links down below so you don't have to try to hunt them down because it's so hard to find like the links to these sales. I hate it. I don't know why they make it so hard. I was just like, are you trying to give me a sale or not? Like I looked into the Steam library. I'm like, where are these sales? How do I find these sales? And I find a one that's like just plastered on the storefront, but only one sale. I was like, what happened to the rest of the sales? It's fine. I just found all the links. I put it all in the description. You're welcome. So you want to check out Square Enix, Capcom, Bamco, Koei Tepco, Spike Chunsoft, the ones I've just named. Links down below. Let us know what you end up getting too, because I'm super excited to see what kind of deals you guys are able to score this year.
Yeah. Thanks for aggregating all of those sales, Baku. Very much appreciated.
You're welcome. I want to see you guys play games, but at an affordable price.
All right. Well, Baku, before we wind down, because it is nearing that time, what are you doing these days? I think you just mentioned that you're streaming some World Ends With You. Is that correct?
That's right. When I'm not looking at $60,000 figures, I am playing Neo the World Ends. And over at twitch.tv/Bakusan JRPG. Please come hang out with me. I get lonely sometimes. Lately, I've been getting a lot of European viewers. Hello, European viewers. And I'm just like ecstatic because I'm just like, Europeans.
Isn't it always, it's always super cool. People are like, oh, hey, you're here. Yeah. Like Nixu, for instance, they always like, it's so cool because they join from France and stuff. It's like, oh, that's so cool. How are things in France? And
right.
like, being able to like place like, oh, hey, there's that spot in Europe is watching. Hey, there's that spot that's over in the
Yes.
Philippines or something like.
Yes.
like,
Yes.
I love
I
it.
love it. It's fun. Yeah. Not to say that I don't appreciate my United States viewers. Hello. Or Canadians. Don't
Whatever.
think I've
We're
forgotten
going
you.
European. We're going big these days.
Yeah, we're going global. Yeah, but to all
Baku-san,
you international
worldwide.
viewers, welcome, and love to have you guys there. After finishing Neo the World Ends View, which is probably coming up soon, we will be playing Xenoblade Chronicles, the first game, because a certain company decides to move the third game 2 months earlier. So now I got to move my schedule up too. So
I
if
see.
you guys want to hang out, watch some Xenoblade soon, definitely come by.
Awesome.
How about you, Derek?
Well, Friday videos are still back. I just put out a video where I unboxed a bunch of stuff that came from some viewers, that came from a friend, that came from some people that I bought stuff from. So that was Friday's video, was just kind of a little bit of housekeeping and kind of getting people up to date with, some stuff that I've been doing. Got a couple of incredible vinyls that I unboxed and listened to, and they are so good. So if you're curious about what those are, go check out the video. But otherwise, if you're curious about when my review of Shin Megami Tensei 5 is finally coming out, well, I have a little update. It's coming out on Friday for you guys, actually.
Oh, I thought
Finally.
you already shot it out. Okay,
No,
never mind. You
it's-
just finished the video. You didn't release it yet.
No, it's right now it's in early access for anybody who's currently subscribed through Twitch or on Patreon or channel memberships here on YouTube. If you want to see that video, you can see it right now. But otherwise, let's see. You can also, if you're a subscriber, you can find it on my Discord server and get the access to the high quality download of the file. It's like 10 gigs because it's like super high quality, shot in 4K and everything. It's awesome. But anyways, otherwise it'll be out on Friday. And over on Twitch, yes, Twitch is where I'll be playing starting on Wednesday, Chrono Cross. And I'm finally looking forward to be able to do that.
Finally.
I know. It has been such a long time in the works.
You know how many people have been waiting for you to play Chrono Cross? Too many people. Too many lives were lost.
I know. But you can find me there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, twitch.tv/SuperDerek RPGs. Links in the description. Now, before we go, we do have some super chats to go over here.
Amazing chats. Yes.
They are the best chats. Got one here from Still Alive who said, how would you rate the chances of Square Enix giving an HD 2D treatment to the Quintet trilogy? Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and Terranigma.
Oh,
dude. I would rate the chances of it happening very low.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I think I have the opposite opinion, but no, go ahead. I want to hear this.
Yeah, because so Squaresoft didn't make it, right? It was made by Quintet, hence the name, and it was licensed by Enix, right? So now Enix did license. So, anyways, point is, Quintet has gone under. They're no longer really around. There is some silver lining of hope because they did the ActRaiser remake.
Yes,
but they didn't seem to do super well with it, as I understand it. I didn't see it. Was it ActRaiser Rebirth, I think?
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
I think.
Thanks. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that indicates that maybe Enix still holds their rights to it, to Quintet's games as the publisher. Maybe. I don't know. I hope so. I would love there to be
the Terranigma.
I just know better than to get my hopes up. And an entire trilogy remaster, I think, is asking a lot.
Yes.
I think most likely of the three would either be Illusion of Gaia or either Illusion of Gaia or Terranigma. Maybe most likely Terranigma, because I think Illusion of Gaia was partially funded by Nintendo. So,
Oh,
or it
I
was at
didn't know
least,
that.
or at least it was published by Nintendo in the United States, and they had this big Nintendo Power push. So it was a big collaborative effort between Enix, Nintendo, and Quintet.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
Once
So
upon a
I
time.
mean, it's one of those things like there's more hands in the pie, so it's harder to say yeah it'll happen or no it won't.
Mhm.
I feel like Soul Blazer by itself, it probably wouldn't translate especially well to an HD 2D remake. So I feel
Mhm.
like Terranigma would be the one that has the best chances of it,
Mhm.
but I just don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, no, I get that. So I'm a little bit more optimistic about it, but only in parts. I do agree with Derek that I think Terranigma is probably going to get that uh HD 2D remake treatment and not so much Gaia. It just probably won't work too well.
Mhm.
Um, I think if anything, they can give it sort of the Renaissance treatment for Gaia, but then again, like Derek said, it just didn't sell too well, so maybe not. But then again, Square Enix sometimes will oddly spend money on games that previously didn't sell well. Case in point, Near, and then they gave Near Automata a go. It turns gold, and then somehow they won the lottery. Like they struck gold
Yeah.
basically with Near. But if you look at if Near Automata never happened, right? Imagine that didn't happen. You just look at the sales number for Near and Drakengard. They're absolute like abysmal numbers, right? So and anyone would say that there would be no new Near, there would be no way, right? But Square Enix has
But they
proven
did,
that may
and
not be the case,
then it
right?
blew up. Yeah.
And it blew up. Yeah. So now, the reason why I'm optimistic is because during one of the interviews of the team who works on the HD2D game, I forgot how far back it goes, but it might have been like 3-4 months ago. He was saying that the directive to revitalize OIP using the HD2D technology came straight from the top echelon of Square Enix,
Yeah, I
and
do remember
that
that. Yeah.
they actually had to give a presentation
Of
that team
possible.
gave of
Yeah.
possible games, and Terranigma, if I remember correctly, like, that series is among those games. Now, we don't know what the outcome of those meetings are. We don't know which one the executives like and didn't like and think works and won't work. But it was there, and it may very well already be in development, and we wouldn't
God.
even know it until it's time for a big review, like Live Alive. Who thought Live Alive was gonna get a remake?
That's a good point.
Right?
Excellent
No
point.
one. No
Counterpoint.
one
Yeah.
thought. Yeah. So
Dude, don't get my
we'll
hopes up
see.
like this. Don't make me dream. Baku, you only get me hurt. Go in
If they can
expecting nothing and then be pleasantly surprised. That's the mantra. Keep hype responsibly, everybody. Hype
hype
responsibly.
responsibly. Yeah,
Calm
hype
down.
responsibly. I'm
Hype
optimistic, but
responsibly.
with reasons, but don't get hurt over my humble, opinion on what may be possible.
I gotcha.
We'll see. Yeah.
We got another
Okay.
super chat here from Jeffrey,
Yes,
who
sir.
said,
Hello.
"Cup of noodles, Final Fantasy 15." I believe that was in reference to more modern day references to brand integrations and how that might
Yes.
affect
Yes.
the future of games.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Very much appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Jeffrey. Yeah, I wish I read your super chat early so that I didn't have to like struggle to remember which Final Fantasy it was. But
Yeah.
fun fact, since you sent in a super chat, I'll give you this. One of my friends is like a huge fan of Final Fantasy 15, like real life friend. And she actually went to Japan, bought a bunch of cup noodles, the special edition one with like, Noctis and what have you on the thing. And she just has them as like an entire stack, and she just stacks them like it's a Christmas tree at her house. And I think that display is still there. It's like her little Final Fantasy
Incredible.
15 shrine. Like, just imagine how much time and effort to buy that much cup noodle from Japan, ships that over there, and puts this together. It was the dedication.
I love
She
it.
really, really cared for it. So there
Funny
go.
you should
Enjoy.
mention that because I have a friend who's such a huge fan of cup noodle. I was just kidding. I didn't have anywhere else to go with that. Okay. We got
Oh,
another
boy.
super chat from Still Alive, though, who said
Hello.
their second question of the week. Do you
Oh,
consider
okay.
digital-only games as part of your overall game collection?
Okay.
I don't. When I'm looking at like my games and I say like, oh, I've got 700 games on my shelf or something like in my collection, I'm not counting like the 20 or so odd games in my Steam library, because that's how much I discount. That's probably an overstatement of the number of games I actually own on Steam. My Steam library is barren, and I think
Ooh.
I've got a few friends in my Steam catalog. I don't even know what you call it, who can probably see what games I play and own,
Mhm.
and I think they'll see.
Are we even friends on Steam, Derek? Are we Steam friends?
Probably not, because
We're not Steam friends.
I don't have
even
Steam installed
know
on my
you
computer right
anymore.
now.
Oh, really?
That's that's why. Like I legit just like I have Steam installed on my laptop in my basement right now, but that's just because I installed it just to install or to acquire or to claim the Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall that just went free on Steam the other day.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, I better go, get that and put it in my list. Kind of like what they did with Portal 2 a long while back, where you could get like free
Yeah.
Portal. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll claim that so that someday I won't have to spend money on a big box PC game.
Right.
That's like, I don't know. I feel like digital games they're nice to have, but I don't like seek them out or I try not to spend money on them.
Gotcha. Yeah, personally, I am very reluctant to count the Steam library as a collection. I'm like Derek. I like my physical copies as much as I can. Sometimes you just can't help it, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes the physical copies are just ridiculously expensive, and then I'm too late. I couldn't get first copy, right? So yeah, I just have to defer to the Steam library. Yet other times there are small indie releases that we've looked at in the past, and they're never getting a physical copy, right? But they're like
Mhm.
either like cult classics or they're just really small develop, but they make great games, right? And the
Yeah.
only real way to get it is through Steam. So again, just reluctantly having to do it. And that's why I don't really have like a super powerful graphics card, because I don't really play crazy AAA titles on my PC anyway. It's really just for streaming and rendering things. And that's the only reason why I even have anything that's remotely powerful enough to do anything near
Yeah.
AAA. But yeah, I would absolutely count my physical game collection as the collection, and the Steam library, which is about as good as it gets as far as like digital preservation is concerned.
Pretty
Because
much. Or
boy,
GOG.
yeah, or something to that effect. Because I mean, Steam's been around for decades and decades, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not like gonna suddenly disappear pretty soon. Now, PSN, I don't have the same faith, right? Because you've seen what happened with PS3. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think that with that about wraps up today's show. So if you're new here and if you made it all the way to the end of the podcast, maybe get subscribed and follow us on your podcasting platform of choice. Maybe if you made it all the way to the end, don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Only if you did like it. Otherwise,
Thumbs up. Ring the bell icon.
otherwise, Baku, have you got any closing thoughts for the audience?
Yeah, Square Enix be cray cray. It's a hard time. I make fun of Trails fans, Falcon fans all the time for lols, but really being a Square Enix fan is the worst of it all. I just can't.
I know. I feel you. All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you on Sunday. And until then, I hope you all have a good rest of your week.
Take
Have
care,
a great
everyone.
night, everybody.